Hey everybody, it's Roll Pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at Transformers Legacy Evolution line. This is Deluxe Class Shrapnel. Yeah, basically we're done with the Rise of the Beast toys for now, as I've reviewed everything that I have. I think there's a still Void or Battle Trap that I need to take a look at, but I figured we'd do this figure first. Nice little palette cleanser, you know, a little going, you can maybe see the juxtaposition between the movie style figures and your traditional generation style figures. Plus, there's something special going on with Shrapnel that I really wanted to point out to you people because I do not see a lot of people talking about it. But first, we're starting off in bug mode. Now, I have to say, right off the bat, I think Shrapnel looks and feels a lot better than Kickback. Um, I think everything pegs in solidly. It's a nice, compact figure. It's basically what you would want from a nice Generations figure. The transformation is simple, intuitive, um, but it's still a lot of fun. Now, I got this figure from Hasbro Pulse. Reason being is I've basically gotten to the point of frustration with pre-ordering from places like Amazon, where figures ship 3 to 6 months early, so it's hard to budget. So I basically, rather stupidly, did not pre-order Shrapnel from there. When I should have realized that, much like Snarl, Leader Class Snarl, which I did pre-order, that Shrapnel would be a high-in-demand figure because people want to complete the Insecticons. Thankfully, Hasbro Pulse did get it in very late at night. A good friend sent me a note and told me it was there, so I was able to grab it. So ended up paying a little bit more since Hasbro really sticks to the MSRPs. But you know what? It's better doing that than having to pay like $50 to $100 for it when it sells out. Also, I just want to mention that I've discovered that there's a peg on the back of the figure. You can store the gun underneath there, and I think it actually looks a little bit better. You have a cleaner top for the insect mode because the instructions show you storing the weapon there. And let me just point out that this is Shrapnel's classic looking blaster. I really appreciate the touch that it's clearly molded in purple, but the blast effect attachment is left unpainted, and the part that goes into the hand is left unpainted. So you have less of a chance of scraping the paint. Sure, it stands out a little, but little detail like that I do appreciate. And then, of course, you can just put it back here, or you can stick it in the leg, however you see fit. Other than that, there's not much going on. You can adjust the pinchers here. That's one of my complaints is I would have liked to have had a locking point with the pinchers that they can close them evenly because I do find myself sometimes knocking them. So they're not even, they're not symmetrical. But there is that. So just one of my little nitpicks. Also, I appreciate that you can store all of the bits to Shrapnel because let's not forget these, what are the insect legs or extra blasters, they all can store in robot and in robotic insect mode. So that's nice. If you remember with Kickback, you had those clear wing additions that kind of really stood out, and we later found out were meant for the repaint with a new head of the deluxe Insecticon. Um, the name escapes me at the moment. But that's about it for the introduction. We will pause and come back. Before we get into the transformation, as I mentioned in the intro, there is one thing about this figure that is not being mentioned that I feel strongly needs to be brought up, and that is actually that with these uh, insect toe blaster things, um, there are match sets. And that's something that, as I said, not getting reported, a lot of people don't notice. And in fact, if you don't know what to look for, you can miss it. But if you notice, on the inside of the blasters, you have a number 1 and a number 2. Basically, the blasters are numbered 1 through 4. 1 and 2 are a set. 3 and 4 are a set. 1 and 3, 2 and 4 are a set. Any other combination um, like 1 and 4 or 2 and 3 are not. And the only way you can really tell, besides looking at the numbers, is the insect toes right here. Um, Basically, if you notice, there's a slight raise on a nub right here that basically gives the toe like to point forward like a horn. And what you want is what you see right here. You have one of those raised pieces on the right and one of those raised pieces on the left. So that when you put them together, they meet in the center. If you have two going the same way, either to the right or to the left, you do not have a proper matched set. Now, to be honest, I don't know. Now, when I put these on Shrapnel, I put them on so that the toes uh, go inward towards the main body of the figure. I don't know if that's accurate or if they should be flipped around. I don't know what's intended, but that's what you need to look out for. So if you don't have a match set, you actually have an error. Now, unfortunately, Hasbro does not replace accessories, so you would have to return the figure to your point of retail, Hasbro, Amazon, Big Bad, and hope that you would get the right set. Like I said, a lot of places are not mentioning this, are not talking about it. In fact, the only place that I saw this mentioned was on the Amazon in stock thread on TFW 2005. That somebody discovered it and started posting the photos, and a lot of people started finding out that they didn't have the proper match sets and were going off of from there. Thankfully, I was lucky and I got mine. But this is what you have to keep an eye out for. And I don't usually talk about collectability and value, but I believe that down the line, this will be something that um, will make shrapnels with the match set more desirable, more valuable, more collectible than those that aren't. So if that's something that's really important to you, this is something that you might want to keep an eye out for and make sure that um, you have. Unfortunately, as we all know, the accessories come wrapped in tissue paper under the tray, so there's no way to see them in the package. So that's about it for that part. We're going to pause and get back to the transformation. Okay, for the transformation, I've gone ahead and removed Shrapnel's main blaster, but you can leave the little bug leg blasters on right there. First thing you want to do, a couple different ways you can start. I like to start by folding up those secondary legs that on the original toy were wheeled. These were actually wheeled too, and if you notice those little ports right there, I think that's actually meant to homage the wheels. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and separate the arms from the side here. They do peg in. Not tightly, but they are tight enough that they'll hold. So just give yourself a wide base of room there to work with. Next thing you want to do is pull back on the legs slightly. There are tabs here on the inside of the legs that will actually peg up underneath the waist. So that's something you need to keep an eye out for. And then go ahead and just separate the legs entirely and telescope them down. And right there are those tabs that I was talking about. And you're going to close that up, come around this way, and there's a tab on the inside of this panel that will go into a slot on the inside of the joint that telescopes the leg down. So you just want to close that up. Basically, if that panel doesn't close, you don't have it lined up right. Go ahead, flip up the feet, and let's rotate the waist around. That waist joint is actually a little tight, and that's one thing I've noticed is like some of the joints here are like really tight on the figure, and actually had a problem. Like sometimes have to use a little bit of force to move things around. Before we bring the arms down, let's go ahead and using a little tab right there on the wrist, flip out the hands, just like so. Real easy peasy. And then finally, to finish off the figure, separate the claws or mandibles so they sit out like that. Now, what's really nice is on the original toy and other versions of Shrapnel, the face covering and the mandibles horns were actually all in one piece. Not so this time. So you actually have to flip up the face covering on your own, and it does you have to use a little bit of force to push it up into place. So there you go. There's Shrapnel in its robot mode. You do have universal joints at the shoulders, the waist swivel as we saw, the head can swivel, universal joint at the hips, 90-degree knee bend, a little bit more, and you have ankle pivot. So you do have the full range of articulation. Did I mention the elbow bend? I don't think I did. And you have the swivel at the bisection. So let's go ahead and bring his blaster in. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I do really appreciate how the little tip of the peg is not painted. So you don't really have to worry about the paint rubbing off, and you really don't even notice it when it's in the hand. Also, for the Evo Fusion weapon mode, we can just go ahead and remove the underarm blasters. You take one, put it in the front here, peg this one into the back, just like so. That will go into the robot hand, and then you just swing this around, swing the arm around. There we go, and just like that. And here you have like this combined rifle thingamabob. It's okay. I'm not a big fan. I would probably just end up leaving the blaster as it is. But I do appreciate having, options to the accessories, options to the layout of the figure. But yeah, Shrapnel is really fun. Like I said, it's nice to go back to the traditional. I shouldn't say traditional, but the more the generation styles we're used to, where the sides become arms, the back becomes legs, instead of having a lot of panels and kibble and stuff that don't line things up properly. And again, I think this robot mode works a lot better with as Shrapnel than Kickbacks did. I just feels it's a little more stable, but then again, that could have been a quality control issue on mine. So let's pause, and we'll come back with my final thoughts. As I said in the beginning, I think Shrapnel is between Kickback and Shrapnel. Shrapnel's the better Insecticon, and I have more fun handling it and transforming it. That's not to say that you would have the same experience, but that's just mine, and I am very curious now to see how Bombshell comes out. And I hope we don't have to wait a whole other year to get the figures done, as I feel that that's a bit pointless to completing a team. Now, as I said, I got this figure from Hasbro Pulse. I believe it is sold out now, and unfortunately it is sold out on Amazon. So your best bet is to try other retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, TF Source, or look in brick and mortar like Walmart and Target. Hopefully this figure will reach some form of saturation, and this won't be an issue to try and find, because really, you really don't want to miss out on completing what I think will be the best versions of the Insecticons we're going to get outside of Masterpiece. And who knows if we're going to get Masterpiece Insecticons, and even then, if we do, the quality they'll be. Let's be honest, Masterpiece toys for the past few years have been more complicated, fidgety, and fragile. Something that I don't think the Insecticons should be. Well, and also, don't forget what I did say about the underarm blasters, the toes in the insect mode, and making sure you have the match set. Besides giving you that perfect looking figure, down the line, that will be something that people will be looking for, and I hate to bring this up, will add a little bit of value to Shrapnel on the secondary market. That's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate the views, the likes, comments, and subscriptions, help to communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, I do have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you to help me help you bring figures like this to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, well, I already said that, but as I always say, if you can't do the $1 a month or $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. I know times are tough now. We have inflation coming and stuff like that. So you worry about you, I'll be fine. Patreon is just a cherry on top of an already generous Sunday. You guys have been with me for over 10 years. Some of you have just joined now due to the movie cycle, and I hope you stick around. So we do have a lot of fun on this channel, and I do try to be informative and present fun figures to you that I think you'll enjoy and maybe want to own. That's about it for the review. This is your old pal Chuck, or Shrapnel. We will see you next time.